If you've been pouring bags of chemical fertilizer onto your garden hoping for rich, thriving soil, you might actually be doing more harm than good. Here's the truth that'll make any serious grower stop and rethink everything. Your soil doesn't want synthetic boosters. It wants life, microbial activity, decaying organic matter, and the natural exchange that has fueled ecosystems for millennia. And there's one method that feeds that life better than any fertilizer ever could. It's simple, ancient, and completely free. Stay with me for the next minute, because what I'm about to share will flip your entire approach to soil health on its head. Let's start by calling out the myth most gardeners have been sold. Fertilizers don't feed the soil. They bypass it. The idea behind fertilizer is straightforward. Provide nutrients directly to plants. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the so-called NPK trio, are the building blocks of plant growth. But here's the flaw. Fertilizers deliver nutrients in a fast, artificial burst, which bypasses the slow, natural nutrient cycle. Over time, this depletes organic matter and weakens the living structure of your soil. The microbes die off, worms retreat, and soon your once fertile ground turns compacted and lifeless. Plants might still grow, but you'll find yourself in a constant loop of dependency. More fertilizer, more watering, and more cost. During the mid-20th century, especially after World War II, this fertilizer-first mindset exploded. But even then, scientists and farmers who studied the old ways knew better. They understood that real fertility starts below the surface, with organisms turning waste into nourishment. And that's where our replacement for fertilizer comes in, living compost and worm castings. The secret lies in feeding the decomposers, not the plants. To fix soil the right way, you've got to restore the natural digestion process. Every healthy ecosystem, from a forest floor to a thriving farm, is built on organic decay. Dead leaves, fruit scraps, manure, all of it becomes food for bacteria and fungi, which break it down into humus. Worms then eat that material, digest it, and release castings that are perfectly balanced in nutrients and microbial life. That's what plants actually crave, nutrients in a living, bioavailable form. You can start this process in your own garden easily. Take your kitchen scraps, vegetable peels, coffee grounds, eggshells, and pile them with dried leaves or shredded paper. Keep it moist and turn it every week or so. Within a month or two, you'll notice heat and dark, crumbly soil forming beneath. That's your gold. Mix it into your planting beds or scatter it around crops as a top dressing. If you want to accelerate things, introduce a handful of red wigglers, worms that specialize in composting. Their castings contain beneficial bacteria that outcompete pathogens and release nutrients slowly, exactly when plants need them. The Cold War connection that modern gardeners overlook. During the Cold War era, when governments feared disruption to supply chains, many civilian defense programs promoted backyard self-sufficiency. It wasn't just about shelters and rations, it was about sustaining food production off-grid. In manuals distributed across America and parts of Europe, there were detailed sections on soil health through composting, trench mulching, and worm culture. The logic was simple. If trade stops, synthetic fertilizers won't save you, but biological soil systems will. These small-scale survival farms thrived on local waste streams, kitchen scraps, manure, leaves, turning them into living soil within months. Today, those lessons matter more than ever. With rising fertilizer costs, unpredictable supply, and declining soil quality, the Cold War's self-sufficient soil strategy is back in the spotlight. Worm-driven systems are sustainable, self-repairing, and capable of producing nutrient-rich crops without dependency on external inputs. In fact, a single square metre of worm-fed soil can hold 5 times more water than chemically treated ground, making it a literal lifesaver during droughts. You can apply this today with just a few steps. Start by finding a shaded corner of your yard or garden and dig a pit about 1/2 metre deep. Layer it with alternating bands of green, fresh scraps, grass clippings, and brown, dry leaves, cardboard. Sprinkle a thin layer of soil between each band to introduce microbes, then moisten the pile until it feels like a wrung-out sponge. Cover it loosely with old burlap or straw to retain moisture. Within weeks, decomposition begins and worms will naturally migrate to the pile. After 2 to 3 months, you'll uncover a soft, dark, earthy material. That's living compost. Mix it directly into your soil or steep it in water for 24 hours to create a compost tea that can be sprayed on plant leaves to boost microbial growth. The beauty of this method is that it compounds over time. Each year you use compost and worm castings, your soil's organic matter increases. That means better structure, higher water retention, stronger root systems, and fewer pests. It's not a quick fix like synthetic fertilizer. It's a foundation for decades of fertility, and it's completely free. The reason worms thrive where fertilizers fail is simple. Chemical fertilizers burn through organic matter and alter soil pH, driving worms and beneficial fungi away. But organic matter, like compost and decayed plant residue, creates a balanced, moist environment full of microbial food. Worms love that. Their tunnels aerate the soil, allowing oxygen to reach the roots. Their castings add slow-release nutrients and beneficial microbes that boost plant immunity. Over time, your soil becomes a living system, self-regulating, self-healing, and perfectly balanced. So stop feeding your soil chemicals and start feeding it life. Every handful of living soil you create is an investment in long-term sustainability. You're building fertility that doesn't wash away in rain, doesn't depend on the market, and doesn't destroy ecosystems. Whether you're growing vegetables, trees, or just trying to restore an exhausted patch of land, the principle is the same. Work with nature, not against it. If this breakdown helped you see soil in a new light, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who still thinks fertilizer is the answer. And if you're serious about learning the natural systems that make soil thrive, subscribe to Hydrohaven. There's more coming. Deep dives, forgotten techniques, and timeless methods that keep your garden alive without a single drop of chemical aid.